have some tea and punch a yak." So Jeff spake thusly, "But many peasants have been killed. There are widows and orphans coming out the wazoo. Villages are burning, and there is much suffering in the land. Besides, what's the point of training at fighting all day if all you are going to do is knock out random mountain beefs?" And with that, the abbot says, "That is an excellent point, Toady. We'll do it." And so it comes to pass that 138 monks outfitted for fighting march north, leaving home one guy for ringing the gong and another to milk the yak. And before 3 days have passed, those barbarians who were not killed or wounded are more than somewhat discombobulated, and they retreat to their own land, while not a single monk is lost, although a couple have blisters on their thumbs from their fighting sticks, and the abbot quotes the Buddha to them, saying, "Life is suffering, and you should put some ointment on those," and they are comforted. Then they return to their monastery, shut the doors, and resume their routine. Meanwhile, there is much rejoicing in the land, and in the celestial city the emperor is praised for his strength and wisdom, and says thus, "So these daffy mugs don't want anything?" "Nope," says Jeff. "They say they are content to have lessened the suffering and oppression of the people, and would I please go piss up a rope." "Buddhist parable," explains one of the other ministers. "Probably." "Something's fishy," says another toady. "How do we know these guys aren't up to something?" "And what if they start to think that we are the ones oppressing the people?" says another, which you have to admit has come up in meetings. "Yeah," says the emperor. "I don't trust the guy who doesn't want anything." "Maybe," says a younger toady, "we," and here he makes the gesture of cutting someone's throat and makes a croaking sound. "How?" asks Jeff. "They are the best fighters in the land, and I think we can admit that in comparison, our guys are shit." "Maybe we give them a little flaming medicine," says one of the more clever ministers, referring to what they called gunpowder at the time. "I hear recently from one of the Dutch white devils that it can be used for croaking guys as well as entertainment." And around the great hall goes a collective of thoughtfulness. See, gunpowder has been around for hundreds of years, but up until then it has only been used for firecrackers on New Year's and to blast that one guy to the moon several centuries ago, which, it is agreed, would have worked if they hadn't made his rocket ship out of bamboo. But recently, traders from the West have introduced the flaming medicine for making bombs and loading cannons, thus giving it the new name. "Make your plan," says the emperor. So it comes to pass that a small force of the emperor's soldiers sneaks into the mountains in the night and sets fire to the monks' clubhouse, stacking barrels of gunpowder at the gates and tossing bombs over the walls until the entire joint is in flames. When the monks run to one gate to meet their attackers, it is blown up, and when they run to another, it too is blown up, until most of the monks are dead or in flames, and it is not looking good for those few who are not. But then the immortals look down from the heavens, and despite the fact that the Buddhist monks don't believe in them, they are moved by their discipline and good deeds, and they send a thunderbolt down to blow a hole in the back wall of the monastery, through which the surviving 18 monks escape, leaving the emperor's soldiers thinking the monks are toast to the last man. Hidden and nursed by the peasants, whom they saved from the barbarians, all but 5 of the monks perish from their wounds. Those 5, who are called the 5 ancestors, vow to oppose the reign of the Qing emperor and all those of his descent, as he is now regarded throughout the land to be a first-rate douchebag. And they also vowed to restore the previous Ming dynasty, which everyone agrees was swell and much better for the people. To each of the 5, the immortals bestow a talisman of the 5 great dragons, dragons of wood, earth, metal, fire, and rain, whose power they will represent on earth. So the 5 ancestors adopt a banner of 3 red dots, which is the symbol of the Ming dynasty, and for that they are called the Triads. They spread out through the cities and villages, recruiting members to the secret resistance, and eventually, to make ends meet, they evolve into great criminal organizations, always with the goal of overthrowing the Qing emperors, as well as making a few